Hello everybody, Daz is here. Today is Friday, and after massive effort from burying myself running to the beer store, I decided to make a little overview for you for a couple products that I have in store, and those both from Bitspower. So we have a block, latest version of the block for ASUS Strix 1080 Ti, and some additional thingy that I never showed before, and I think it will make unboxing and talking about Bitspower GPU a little bit more interesting, because those of you who followed my channel for a while saw quite a few Bitspower blocks unboxed, discussed, and even installed. So we'll try to make things a little bit interesting. So I already pre-cut this box, so we don't do strictly cutting all the seals, but we will talk about block a little bit. So first of all, set of accessories, the same as usual. We have a pretty nice diagram with all screws and instructions. No text, only drawings, but they works pretty fine. Traditionally for Bitspower, they provide full set of O-rings. No other manufacturer, as I know, gives such thing. So in case of you decide to disassemble block a couple years later, to clean it or something like that, it's always good strategy maybe to put new O-rings inside, because O-ring gets squished, and when you clean your block and put them back, maybe seal wouldn't be as good. So it's always a good idea also to test it, but in case of any problems, you have every single O-ring that you used in block right away. So if you need to, you can replace it without going through any RMAs and things like this. Traditionally for Bitspower, they providing top of the line thermal pads. Fuji Poly is absolute leader in thermal materials. They're not cheap thermal pads, they have a good rating, and Bitspower always stick to that brand. I recommend this brand myself. I use it in many of my builds. I use it even to improve cooling of my laptops, because paste and thermal material installed by manufacturers not always top of the notch, and when you go in for Fuji Poly, always excellent results. Two stop plugs, which is traditional, because you have 4 holes on a block, so 2 of them has to be plugged, and set of screws and posts that required for installation, which we're not going to do today because I don't have the card. But nevertheless, there's a few things we can touch. 2 main components, backplate and block itself. Let's talk a little bit about backplate. Why I want to bring it up is, again, Bitspower is different from everybody else, that they give you backplate by default. It's up to you, you can use it or not, because I believe for Strix cards specifically, I believe you can retain original backplate if you want to, but if you want to use full set of product like Bitspower, block and backplate, you have it right away. Many other manufacturers sell it separately, so when you look for the pricing, make sure you count that, because for example, if you buy a K block and then you want backplate on top of it, it will be extra. Here it's all packaged together. The backplate itself is a pretty toned down design. Comparing to 1080 variations, you can see that this is a smaller backplate because it's for reference design. So we have a logo, same size pretty much, but we also have some green design from NVIDIA. Many people express that they not necessarily want some green in their build because they maybe build something else, and it seems like Bitspower listen and they make it absolutely black. And comparing with even lower generation 1080, 980, so the 980 block, you can see that logo became like probably twice as big. So this general trend that logos became bigger and bigger. Even look at your cars. Before the logo was this size, now it's like half of your hood. So it's a general trend, and I personally don't like it, but that's how it goes. So that's this backplate part, not much to talk about it. And let's look on the block. This is an acrylic version with a nickel plated copper base. This is also very traditional for Bitspower. They don't do any blocks, just a bare copper, unlike some other guys who offer like more variety for people who are looking for price conscious. But because of the brand name itself for Bitspower, it's high end, if you will. So no lower cost options for you. If you go Bitspower, you have money, you value brand name recognition, things like this. And I already see there's a few changes here. So I complained before on my silver lining build, if you watched that video, that the LED itself inside of the 1080 block reference design wasn't that great. First of all, it was short. Second of all, it's wasn't the top of the line LED strip, and colors produced by this strip, especially for white, wasn't that satisfactory. I see that the strips that use here, instead of traditional cheapest flex LED strip, is a rigid strip. It's at least twice as long. The microchip itself much smaller, which probably will be provide more pointy and better quality light in terms of the white, because white is consists of all three colors working together, all RGB lighting 100%. But if the chip is big, you can see dots separate, and that's why the blending process doesn't go as well. Here we have a much smaller chip. It means that if you go for the light, as the white color as your option, then the colors together, they blend better and produce more white color than comparing with an older version. And it's also, instead of 3 microchips, I see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 microchips. So you see how big it is? It's almost half of the block is covered with LED light. It means that the lighting of the entire piece of plastic will be more even and more bright, which is always welcome part for those people who are looking for glowing things really hard and well. And we have a little cable that, looking by connector, it just connects directly to your GPU. So you remove the stock cooler, you remove the lighting with it as well, and you replace it with the lighting that goes with this Waterblock, and this will be fully synchronized the same way as it works for original cooler. So that's the thing. And now the other part that you promise you that will be slightly different. Traditional blocks, we have this connector part that's sticking outside of the block itself, and traditionally we have 2 ports on top, 2 ports on the bottom, and depending how you build your system, you might go to reservoir from the bottom, go to, let's say, actually I should keep it this way, because traditionally when you install it in your motherboard, you have the plastic part facing down and the GPU facing top. So we have 1 port going to GPU, 1 port going to somewhere as reservoir and pump combo. It's not always the best solution. Sometimes it doesn't look good, sometimes it's space constraint, doesn't allow to do things. So now we have additional option, of course for extra money, but opportunity to replace this connection section with a slightly different thingy. So what it is, it's basically a replacement part that allows you to have your, when it's installed like this, so you can see it. So we can see the ports coming not only from, let's say, from the top, no bottom in this case, but also ports coming on the right side, on the left side, and even 2 ports coming kind of inwards toward GPU, sorry, motherboard, which I never saw ever in any other vendor. So let's see if we can install it quickly. So let's remove this link port. Tools are provided, which is great. Quite often I have to stop video and run for the screwdriver. Here we have it right there, and we need to put O-rings in place, and there is also shorter screws that use for this link. So let's see if we can put O-rings quickly, because usually new O-rings a little bit stubborn, they just don't want to go into position because they're round, and usually the place where we're putting them on the water blocks is kind of elongated or even some odd shape, but seems like working fine. So you can see 2 black O-rings that I just installed, and put it over, screws. I will not tighten them too much, but just want to give you some idea how it looks. Alright. And that's how it will look basically. So I'm lacking GPU, so you see the gap here is actually for the GPU itself. I don't know, maybe we can use this backplate to mimic PCB. So that's how it's installed. You just put in your motherboard, and now you have opportunity to have connection up, inwards, or sides. So quite often, in order to go to R01 pump combo, you have to use 90-degree connector anyways. So this you can shoot straight line if you want to. So that's how it works. That multi-direction link, the best as I know, only comes with acrylic. So it naturally will look good with acrylic block. If you have something like this, acetal block and black, this is a 980, but you see that it's very similar to what we have in hand. So it might look a little bit odd that is mismatching of material. Maybe Bitspower later day will announce a black version as well, but right now most people opt for acrylic blocks lately. I have a very little interest to acetal block, as at least for last like year and a half. So most of the sales goes with acrylic blocks, so that's why I see that Bitspower selected acrylic component. You also, additional things that I would like to mention, there is a provisioning for 3mm LEDs, so if you would like to highlight that thing even more, you can do so. I don't believe there's any RGB LEDs for 3mm, so if you want to highlight with white or any other solid color, it's not a problem, but if you want some rainbow wave or things like this, that I'm not quite sure how you can achieve it. You probably just don't use it. Nevertheless, if you want to, this piece of plastic also can highlight it with one additional LED that's this provisioning right behind. So you wouldn't see much of the cables going on and everything, which is very nice idea to do it this way. Alright guys, so that's what we have. Interesting new option. May work, may not work for you, but you know, more options we have, more opportunities of unique builds we can do. Alright guys, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you more with additional videos and reviews. See you soon.